You want to learn about all the releases from Figma Config 2025. All of us designers are super excited about this. In this video, I'll go through the different releases that were announced in the keynote today, May 7th, 2025, and we will go through each one of them in a little bit detail just so that you see for yourself what kind of value these updates can bring to your design workflow. Few things to note before we dive into the bigger updates is that the Figma interface and UI is now available in multiple languages, including Portuguese, Spanish, Korean, which is making it so much more accessible to many of you across the globe. That's an amazing update that Dylan Field, the CEO, gave in his keynote today. Another big item was he mentioned that they're doing a lot of work on the Figma backend to ensure the performance and file loading capabilities are all in order. The first exciting update in our design file is Figma Grids, which is a new addition to Figma Auto Layout. Let's see how that is working in the file. How to access Figma Grids. First of all, as soon as you open your Figma and receive all the new updates, you will be guided through a really nice Figma onboarding process that will show you where everything is. But just to get us started, if I were to start from scratch, click F to create a frame. Under the layout option, some changes were made. One thing is the default is a freeform layout, which is what you would normally get started with. You don't have any layouts imposed on you. This is the change for vertical layout, horizontal layout, and this is where you would find Figma Grid Beta. So by default, when I selected this, I have a 2x2 grid. It has 2 columns as well as 2 rows. If I were to click on this component, this is an interactive component, I will have the ability to hover and select as many columns as I want, up to 12, same with rows. So they have a grid of 12 columns and 12 rows. On this frame, actually, I created 3 columns and 2 rows. And the beauty of this grid is if I select so many images at the same time, let's say, if I drag them and drop them in the grid, automatically within one click, look at this beautiful grid it generated. Some key things to note about the Figma grid is, first of all, it is aligned with CSS grids, which is once again Figma bridging the gap between design and code, making it very easy in the age of AI to convert our designs to code. So this is a wonderful addition. It's giving you this layout option that is right out of the box. You can, of course, place this grid within a different auto layout, so you can nest different types of auto layouts within each other. Also, you always have the ability to detach from this grid, go back to the vertical or horizontal layout, and even detaching and going to freeform layout if you wanted to. Auto layout absolute positioning, which allows you to place a different item. Like, for example, if I were to create a rectangle here and that I want to place, we still have the ability to use absolute positioning here in this grid layout. The next amazing release that was announced today is Figma Sites. Before Config today, Figma started with 3 products. When you wanted to start a new Figma file, you had the option to choose Design, FigJam, or Slides. But after the announcement today, Sites, Figma Sites was rolled out in beta. So Figma Sites, let's say I select this new Figma site. You have the ability to get started from a template, or you can start with a blank site. As you can see, the templates include anything from events like weddings to landing pages to personal blogs and things like that, as well as a portfolio. Imagine how handy and wonderful that is for designers who want to create their own sites or portfolios. Let's say for the purpose of this demo, we start with a blank template. I'm going to go back to Explore and start with a blank site. You can see the interface is quite similar to Figma design, but also has its differences because the main purpose of Figma Sites is to actually publish a website. Once you configure your settings, whatever you create here, you will have the ability to publish it with one button click. So let's say I am here. Some of the main key features for Figma Sites that they announced, which is something that we struggle with as designers, is the ability to add breakpoints out of the box. Normally, we have to go check for different breakpoints and add those devices. But right here, The moment I started a blank site, I already have a desktop, I already have mobile, and if I click on the plus button, there's a tablet size that is already ready for me to establish my design. To show you how things work in a template, I started from this template and it already had all these designs ready. And to see things in the preview, all you have to do is click on the button. All these different interactions are actually within the code available to you. The preview is fully responsive. When you resize it, it actually resizes. You can even click here the same way you would be able to do with Google Chrome, testing a real website. Let's say I am happy with this design. I can come back here. One thing that is worth noting, how they discussed that this is created in the background. There is one component, for example, for this image. If you were designing it from scratch, you would create variants for the different screen sizes. And the moment you bring it into the sites, the same design would adjust differently. It's different variants to the screen sizes that are available. And if you click on publish, you'll be able to do that. We need to configure our site. Publishing is currently unavailable. Of course, this feature was just released, but I'm sure once we configure the settings, we'll be able to publish a site, which is an amazing capability. And hopefully once this is more installed, I'll have a deeper dive with you guys as we work on our portfolio and maybe publish our portfolio website through Figma Sites. But this update, Figma Sites, is a complete game changer and a very smart business move from Figma. Last few things to note with Figma Sites is the code updates live as you change the designs. And again, this is the power of it. All you have to do is change the design here. So if I select this text here, for example, you can see Figma highlighted the other layers, but it's waiting for me to go and click here. If you hover on this icon on the top right of the text, you can see multi-edit text. So if I were to change this, it should change all three screen sizes. Hello world. And it does it in just one click. Some upcoming updates that they mentioned in the keynote that they will be adding to Figma Sites is building a CMS in the background to enable different users who are not necessarily designers or technically savvy to be able to edit this content in the CMS. And they did show a little snippets from how the CMS is looking like. The next feature that was announced today is Figma Make, which is the ability to use vibe coding to prompt AI and actually generate a whole product for you. You can create things just by uploading an image. You can put a design and animate it. You can prompt the AI to create incredible things for you. And this is supposed to be released to become its own product, but for now, Figma Make has not yet been released. At least it's not visible to me even with a full seat, but you can see maybe the Make AI image capability that is still in beta is what's available. But definitely the plan as announced was to make it one more product, just like when you're getting started here. Next, what you can see is Figma Buzz. So Figma Buzz is more geared towards people who are in marketing. This is a feeling that I got. People who are marketing different events and they are working to generate multiple assets. They may get some of these assets from their product designers, but they have to generate for social media, for different platforms and things like that. Figma Buzz allows them to do that. It allows you to get started from things that already exist on your team. It allows you to create things for print, for ads, for businesses, sales or promotions. Social media, you can see under social, you have things that are curated for Instagram, Google. You can get started from a template. Let's look at this example for a template. And with one click, you have the ability to generate multiple assets from a template. So if I click insert here, you can have shapes or patterns from your team. You can use some AI tools within the Make, which is to rewrite something or to translate something. The biggest value of Figma Buzz is the ability for the marketer to bulk create. So you can upload a file that's just a spreadsheet and it will generate so many assets from that same file. It's a really powerful update targeting a completely different department, which is the marketing department, and empowering Figma to cater to designers everywhere, not just product designers, but also marketing designers. The last product that was announced today is Figma Draw. And right now, Figma Draw is a feature inside of Figma Design. So if you zoom in here on the toolbar at the very bottom of the screen, normally we had dev mode. Now Design has its own selected tab and it looks like this, while Figma Draw is one more mode that you can turn on. And let's see what happens when I turn it on. First, because we're just getting started for the first time, you will have this onboarding that shows you all the different features of Figma Draw, including brushes and pens, how you can select them and use them. Let's say we get started here. Our toolbar already changed completely to allow us to have more drawing and vector tools. So you can have a simple pencil where I can just draw on the interface. This is a brush that has different shapes. If I were to select in the drop down, you can do so many different things with these brushes. And here is the pen tool. It's a completely revamped pen tool with so many capabilities. Figma said that they released 22 tiny new features in Figma Draw, allowing users to have incredible vector capabilities. They actually also created a whole playground file with Figma Draw that you can download online. I will add it in the description for you below so you can access the playground. It will show you all the different capabilities that you can do in your file for vector drawing. I'll be doing a deeper dive on Figma Draw in a different video where we can explore it more closely together, but the goal is to unflatten your designs and take them to the next level, changing things that look computerized to have a little bit more texture. There's a lot of vector improvements, different brushes and strokes. Some of the featured releases out of the 22 new features is a shape loader tool that combines and deletes just by clicking one click. There's a lasso tool. There are repeaters, which are a great way to duplicate shapes without having to redraw them. There's the ability to put a text on a path. There are different texture effects that make your image or design come to life. Progressive blur is something that I really liked, where you have the ability to create a blur that slowly, progressively increases, which allows you to merge different images. Brush tool, handwriting tool with a brush, pattern fills, texture effects, rotation to origin, so many more different features, and they said a lot more is coming up. And right now, this should be available to you in your Figma file. All you have to do is select Figma Draw. As always, Config is the biggest event for Figma, and it has their most incredible releases of the year. This was a game-changing config. The updates that are made are moving Figma from a 4-product company to an 8-product company, catering to designers of all kinds and in different areas of design. Stay tuned by subscribing to my channel. We'll definitely make a deep dive into each of these tools and explore them more deeply to see what we can do with them and how to leverage them in our designs.